Yes, did Mr. Ellison send you a copy of?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Mr. Pruitt, did you get a copy of Mr. Ellison's report?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and can you make him a copy of this one? This one. This is case number 10-DDS-19 and 12-DD5, in which the petitioner is Jessica Pruitt. She appears in person by Michelle Ruse and the counsel. The respondent is Eric Pruitt, who appears in person pro se. Both parties raise their arguments. Each is swear to tell the whole truth and but the truth shall help you God.
Yes.
Yes.
This matter comes on for hearing on status on the issue of Mr. Pruitt's parenting time, but also a petition for contempt with regard to parties protecting order. Mr. Pruitt, did you get served with a copy of the contempt with regard to the protected order?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Pruitt, what is your current address?
It's I don't actually know the address. I'm staying with a friend in Pittsburgh, and I'm currently trying to get back on my feet to get a proper apartment and that sort of thing. This situation's kind of thrown me into a loop.
Where are you receiving your important mail then? What address? Is there an address that you will receive mail?
Yes, I can call, I can give that to you. I can call and give that to you. I can call him and get that information from you for you.
We need to probably do that in writing. We can't take addresses over the mail. We don't know exactly who's calling us.
Right. No.
So you need to, if you don't know what address that is, or you can't give me an address today, you're going to have to write us a letter.
Right.
And give us the address.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, as to the as to the contempt with regard to the rule to show cause, Mr. Pruitt, it indicates that in violation of the domestic violence protective order that you sent a text message to Mrs. Pruitt.
Yeah,
Jessica Pruitt.
I was under the assumption that the restraining order was lifted. It was that the time had been lifted.
Why did you believe that?
It was from the paperwork. I think I looked at the order from last year and seen the date and thought that the date was different than the date of the current order. That's why I gotten the due dates confused. And once I realized what had happened, I did not in any way further contact. And
Ms. Reason, you wish to address that? Or does that resolve the issue as far as factual?
Well, I can't speak to his state of mind. I mean, he did in fact text Ms. Pruitt, and she's prepared to testify to the substance of that text.
I have it on my phone.
Has it on
I mean, is there further text other than what he testified to?
No, just the one.
Mr. Pruitt, I'm going to make a finding of contempt you should have known. I'm not going to find that you're in willful and contumacious contempt, but you're here today, which is a good thing. You're here on the record, and the court is advising you that there is currently a protective order in effect. The fact that you didn't make a threat with this text and that you didn't make repeated text is the reason I'm not going to take any further action on the contempt other than finding that you violated the order. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I hope that is warning enough.
Yes.
That wouldn't necessarily stop Mrs. Pruitt from seeking a criminal prosecution, which is not this court's jurisdiction. This is a civil court. She could still seek prosecution through magistrate court or circuit court. Whether she's going to do that or not, that's up to her or up to a police agency. But I'm going to suffice it to say that we've advised you on the record here today and found that you did violate it, but not take any sanction today. Now, go ahead.
Has it been extended now? I know.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe we could be clear on the record when it's in effect.
That's what we do.
It's December, maybe.
Or did you seek the extension? Wouldn't have been.
Here, it was
Yeah.
right after that happened.
Well, it was until September 30th, 2012.
Well, I had that extended.
Let me see.
I filed on September 28th.
December 29th, 2012.
Yeah.
December 29th, 2012. Do you understand that, Mr. Pruitt?
Yes.
If you didn't receive that document, we can make you a copy of it today. In fact, that might be a good idea to do that because it appears that it did come back. So let's make him a copy of that.
He was served at the
He was.
visitation center.
He was served, yes, by Mr. Hammer, Officer Hammer.
Yes, I didn't receive a copy of the complaint. I just received a copy of the...
All it would be with the request to extend would be just the
Oh,
request to
okay,
extend.
okay. I'm talking in regards to the contempt. I didn't understand what the contempt was until I had the clerk fax this to me.
Now, as to the issues with regard to Kids First and Mr. Pruitt's current situation, Mr. Pruitt, you're not currently living in the area, is that correct?
That's correct. I've moved here 6 separate occasions in order to try to find work and housing, and have not found adequate housing or work. I have no family in this area that's willing to help me, so it's an impossible barrier. I can't possibly find a way to live in this area at this point in time. That could change in the future, but I've made 6 separate attempts to move to this area for the purpose of making visitation easier. I have a much more grounded in the community in Pittsburgh. I've lived there for 12 years. I've got many friends, many business contacts, and I have due respect for somebody that's put forward a great deal of effort to try to make the community a better place in Pittsburgh. I have quite a few people that would vouch for me in the city of Pittsburgh. Here, I don't really have many people that can do that. It's been kind of an issue.
You understand, Mr. Pruitt, that while I can listen to you, you would have to verify and corroborate the information that you're giving me. For me to change the order that we have currently,
Okay.
I would have to have corroborating testimony that you have a stable, lifestyle in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Right now, you're not even able to tell me your address.
That's correct.
You understand? I mean, I'm not going to send a child, into an unknown environment at this time, given the history of this case.
I understand that.
When you are prepared to do that, then you know how the proper paperwork is available online to you, of course through the clerk's office here, but of course it's available online at the West Virginia Supreme Court website, where you can file a petition for modification.
I understand that.
It sounds like you're not going to be able to do the kid's first visitation regularly then either. Is that correct?
Well, I've run into a problem of the, if I'm driving 360 miles round trip every Wednesday for a 1 hour supervised visit. It's become increasingly painful, or increasingly just, it's not logical. Do you understand? Am I making that? I'm driving almost 7 hours in order to have a 1 hour visit, and I'm having a lot of difficulty first trying to justify this on a continual, regular basis, on an ongoing basis. I'm also financially unable to be able to provide both child support and the gas money to go to do this once a week. It's become an incredible burden. At the same time, I also see that the toll that it's taking on Noah to see me for an hour and then to have me dismissed. He begged me. He said, "Daddy, could we please go to your house?" The last visit that I went, when I walked in the door, he was against the wall, afraid for he looked like he was afraid for his life. He then sat in my lap for almost 45 minutes, just in total fear. And I'm trying to consider some amount of what he needs, and I mean, I understand this process is a long process that takes small steps. At the same time, there has to be something that could be done in order to make it better for him to be able to have a little more time with me, to be able to do something other than to sit in that room and play trains. It's becoming, this is his associative thought process with me now, is this room in this visitation center, and it's becoming, for it to keep continuing in this manner is beyond my, it's just a horrible feeling to have to my son there, and this thing here, the hygiene issue, I had to get money to get to West Virginia, and I've recycled metal in order to get extra money, and I jumped in the river like up to my calves to pull some metal out to be able to get the extra money that I needed to pay for the extra gas to get down here. I have a large truck. I don't have a little car. I guess the river, like the stink from the river was on me. That's what that was. I mean, they thought that was me. I got, when I wasn't able to when there was a no-show on a visit, I drove through Wheeling and ran into traffic. Then I drove into through Ohio, Cambridge, Ohio, and ran into a traffic jam. It took 45 minutes. When I left the house, I left my cell phone there, so I had no way to call, no way to get a hold of people. Then that happened once, so I left extra time, and then I got a flat tire outside of Parkersburg. Okay, and so then I'm sitting there with no way to get there to the kids first, and no phone to call them. So I mean, I'm not angry at them. I'm not angry at her. I'm not angry at you. I'm not angry at the court. I'm angry at myself for not being able to achieve this thing that I'm asked to achieve, and I can't. Something has to change here in order to be able to make this work for me, for her, for the child. That's all I'm. Really, that's why I'm here today. That's why.
Can I add to that about the visitations? I was just saying, when there were consistent visitations, Noah's, it was still emotional for him, but it was better. But after the no-shows and the canceling, like we're in the parking lot and I get the phone call saying he's canceled, those are the times that really upset Noah. He doesn't understand why his dad's not there. He's sitting on the stoop crying. That's what has, I think, caused this most recent visit to be so hard for Noah, is because he never knows what's going to happen when we pull in there. Is Dad going to come? Is he going to, we're going to...
Well, Mrs. Pruitt, to a certain extent, of course, courts can't fix, we can't fix people.
Mm-hmm.
People have to fix people.
Mm-hmm.
What occurs to me, Mr. Pruitt, is we've been in this case about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Back in August of 2010, you appeared here. There was issues about instability then. You didn't have a suitable place to live. There was some allegations that you might have some mental health issues then, and we went from there. That was your divorce hearing in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried to work at it from there. Since that time, you lived in Pittsburgh, Morgantown. I don't want to be wrong. Buckhannon.
No, I lived in St. Mary.
Grafton.
Grafton. I'm
Grafton.
sorry, Grafton. Morgantown, Grafton, Belmont or St. Mary's,
Mm-hmm.
Parkersburg, Pittsburgh. With not apparently any stable place to live or stable employment. All we're asking you to be, if that's possible, is normal.
Right.
For the safety of a 3-year-old child, we have to make sure that you are, usually society would call normal.
Right.
Okay? So I guess what I'm saying is a lot of this case is up to you.
Right.
Not if you achieve those things, the parenting plan would take care of itself. At this point, it appears that you have not. Ms. Rusin, what is your client's position at this time? I know that she's probably had multiple hearings, and I don't know ever how to stop that with family court,
Right, I
because
know.
family courts cannot terminate parental rights.
It sounds to me like both of the parties are dissatisfied with the kids' first visits because of their impact on Noah.
Mhm.
So, is that
Mhm.
accurate?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my client would like to just discontinue them. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm. It's very emotional for him.
What would be, and I'll ask you, Ms. Rusin, or if you want to ask Mrs. Pruitt, what would Mrs. Pruitt be willing to do with regard to Mr. Pruitt having any contact with Noah at this time?
Do you have any ideas?
Don't.
What about letters or telephone calls? Of course, he's only 3 years old, so.
I don't mind. He brings things to visits. All the toys that he has from his dad, artwork, things like that. He knows his daddy got it for him. He knows his daddy painted that. They're in his room. He's a very positive image. I've tried to keep that in light of everything. And I've allowed, I keep everything. He has coins, everything that he gets from Dad, he has places for. So I don't mind that, but I also think it's confusing to him at this age. And I don't have any answer.
What about phone calls? You didn't
as long as I mean, I don't want to be harassed. And I don't know how. We could try it, and if I see the number, just maybe like give it straight to Noah, and then it needs to be like a set time, I think there needs to be some consistency. Noah's a very scheduled person. He likes things to happen.
I had offered to provide a cell phone specifically for the use of Noah for phone calls for me in case he wanted to call me or to have some contact with me, or if I was to call him, that he would have the phone to be able to call me, or vice versa.
Like a track phone or something?
Yeah. The issue, I think, as well, is that I think that the Kids First program's very bogged down with cases, and that they've said that there's a timing issue. They can do 1 hour every other week. They can do something like that. I think it's important that he gets to see me on a regular basis. At the same time, I mean, in physical contact, being able to give him a hug is very important. I think he loves that. That is something that I feel that he needs. Now, I've talked to them, and they said it's possible to switch to every other week. If we could do something like that with a 2-hour visit, if it's possible to fit into Kids First with a 2-hour visit every other week, that might work. What I need to do is I need to be able to get time, to be able to get the money together, to be able to organize myself in such a way that I could present myself to the court, because in a state of normalcy. I know lots of people in Pittsburgh that I could go to say, could I have a visit here? Could I basically have adopted family there that are more than willing to provide that sort of thing until I can get back on my feet. Now, if I'm spending this money on the kids for driving and then the maintenance on my truck and being able to come back and forth to Parkersburg, to Pittsburgh, it's going to continue to keep me down. It's going to continue to drain me and continue to drain my finances, so I'm not going to be able to get that money that I need. If in some way there was something that could be done to make it so that a very short time that I could be able to get my finances in order so that I can be able to do this, because this has been, I've kind of gotten a bit better control of my emotions of the situation through having contact with Noah. I feel better about that time, and I think that he's feeling a bit better. But it also hurts him because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand why we go to a facility. He doesn't understand why mom and dad aren't there together. He doesn't understand why these things are going on. So no one could expect him to do that. So what I feel is that if there was some way that we could work together to be able to try to make something better for him and of all other complaints or issues, so that he could get the most time with me possible until I can get reorganized. I'm reorganizing a business. I finally have gotten a couple of business partners, and I'm working on that sort of thing so that I can have financial stability without the nonsense of juggling a job. For example, Kids First, coming to the Kids First program and having to provide that money every Wednesday. That means that I have to.
What are you asking for? I'm not sure what you're asking for.
Mr. Pruitt, what I think is this ought to be your responsibility, rather than the court continuing this out and having Ms. Brusen set another hearing. That we ought to, I guess the word I'd have to use is terminate things now, and then when you're ready, our docket is pretty clear. We try to get, especially here in Pleasant County, we try to get hearings pretty quick. When you believe that you're ready with the things that you're talking about, that you file your own petition for modification, and with an ability then to cooperate with cooperation of the things that you're telling us.
Right.
That you have a stable place to live, and you can provide references that Ms. Rusin can check out, that you provide your business references, that you show things like that you're in counseling, that if you require medication, that you're taking your medication, that and even with possibly with live witnesses, people willing to come down here with you, if you're going to relocate and stay in Pittsburgh, that says, yes, Mr. Pruitt lives with me, or he lives beside of me, or he's like a family member to me, and I would be willing to help him with, if he would have Noah. If I had those kind of things, then we would have a lot more flexibility. What you're telling me today is you need that time to get that set up.
Right.
And if it's a couple of months, I mean, Noah's only 3 years old. We may be into this for the next 15 years, Mr. Pruitt, and even after that, I mean, your son's going to want to know who you are, certainly. But I don't see practical matter. Both parties are unhappy with kids first. If it is that much of a hardship, Mr. Pruitt, I think you ought to take some time and get yourself organized, like you say, and then, but it still ought to be your responsibility to bring this matter back to court. If you understand what I'm saying. Right.
And what I'm saying is that that Kids First is the minimum amount of contact that he can have. If for some reason that it became this situation where that there was to be no contact, I think that would be even worse for him. I think that every other week would be a good this is my statement of the situation. I believe that every other week would be a good solution to the situation, and if it were possible to
Okay. What's your overall feeling on that?
I almost think that would be harder on him because of say it's every other week and then there's a no-show, then that's like a month, and then that's why he was so upset last time, because there was a 3-week time span where he didn't see him, and then we went. I don't know that would be emotionally healthy for him. In his state that he's in right now, I don't know if I think that he should have to get his life in order before he can be around now. That's my opinion.
There were also 2 weeks prior to the times that I was not able to make it that that Jessica was out of town, that she was not present at the.
I had a conference for my work, and he was sick. And
so that this is not my doing.
I have canceled a couple.
There's several times that, so this isn't just my not showing up.
I gave days, if not weeks in advance notice, whereas the other way around, I get calls as I'm pulling into the parking lot, where I get called to come back and get Noah.
I'm just feeling. I'm feeling like that this is that instead of moving forward, to be able to make even a slight bit of progress, that we're taking steps back. We're going backwards.
It's going to be up to you. I mean, you're the one that hasn't made any progress over the last 2 years, if you understand. That's my point I was trying to make. It appears you're in the same place you were 2 years ago. You've got to make steps forward. Ms. Rusin, I'll tell you what I'll do. I am going to modify it to make it alternate weeks. The next week he would be entitled to, and we'll have to contact Kids First.
Do you need the Kids First papers right now?
Huh?
Do you need the Kids First papers right now? I have them.
No, they already have the case set, but that way that'll accommodate Mrs. Pruitt where she doesn't have to worry about this every week.
Would it be possible to make it to request a 2-hour visit every alternate?
That's up to Kids First. I can't order that. I'm only going to say it's going to be for an hour. That's what they've already got. Got set out. So I don't know what the next
I think Ann offered that in the beginning.
Wednesday.
I think that might be the best solution, is to do the because really I get there, I have 5 or 10 minutes to say, how are you doing, and then we do whatever, and then 45 minutes into it, we're cleaning up toys and everything's got to go. That I feel that time is the hardest on him, because external factors or external forces are coming into play that are causing that to stop. He realizes that, and I think he sees that his father's not in control and can't get into control of the situation. That the
next visit then will be scheduled for tomorrow then, right? So it'll be alternate weeks beginning October 31st. You'll be able to make tomorrow's visit?
I'm fairly sure, yeah. I've got to go back to Pittsburgh and make money and then come back. Yes. So yeah.
I'm asking you now, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I will.
Okay.
I don't know if she'll be able to do 2 hours tomorrow.
No, that's up to Kids First. I'm not
Okay.
ordering. I can't order that. It might only be an hour. So.
Well, and I have a question too.
Okay.
They have a 2 strike, like 2 no-show. What if that happens?
If Kids First discontinues the program, then there's nothing I can do about that either. I can't order parties to. I can order parties to participate in it. I can't order Kids First to take them.
Right.
But we'll see. Kids First may not even go with this arrangement, but if they do, then we could say it's alternate weeks.
Yeah.
I know they only have an hour set out right now. That's the reason I know I can't order 2 hours, because I know that they've only got an hour set out. I mean, Mr. Pruitt, it's all the court can do at this point.
Right, I understand
And then the next one will be alternate weeks, and that way Mrs. Pruitt doesn't have to worry about this every week. I was inclined maybe to go month to month, but even you said that might be too much time. So we'll go with alternate weeks. If it's possible, it can be 2 hours starting tomorrow. That way you can mark every other Wednesday on your calendar, Mr. Pruitt. But again, if you want anything more, you're going to have to file a petition for modification. You
Right.
understand what I'm
I
saying?
have a.
And you're going to have to set out in it what your whole life is. And you're
I
going to
have
have
a-
to be able to cooperate. Courts, while I can listen to you,
Right.
I can't take your word for everything.
I mean, if you
Right,
want a certain
absolutely.
plan,
I have a history here. You're going to have to bring witnesses and documentation.
Okay. I have a meeting tomorrow for a new council. So
If you get a lease for an apartment, then you need to bring me a copy of the lease.
okay.
If you buy a house, then you need to bring me a copy of the financial documents around that sale. You need to show me paychecks. You need to show me counseling appointments, prescriptions,
I've been told
things
that.
that Ms. Rusin, that the court, while the court can't check those things up, then Ms. Rusin can call and corroborate that you're, and also, of course, Mr. Ellison can call and corroborate that what you're saying is correct.
Right.
Okay?
And I tried to contact him twice, or 3 times. Once or twice in the office and twice by phone. So I guess it would be 4 times. And
It's better with a guardian ad litem or any attorney that you call and make an appointment and keep the appointment.
right.
Okay?
He had,
That's what you would have to do.
his secretary had said that he did not need to speak with me this time. I guess he's on vacation. I was wondering why he wasn't present at any of the hearings.
It was either he wasn't able to be here today. He's on vacation.
He's in Florida.
Probably. But it was either that or continue the hearing.
Right.
And I didn't want to continue today's hearing.
Yeah, and I didn't.
He may be at the next one. Anyway, call and make an appointment.
Right.
Attorneys are like courts. We don't know who's talking to us over the phone.
Right.
You call, make an appointment.
I had a recommendation from. I have a meeting tomorrow with a new council, and
Okay.
I would.
You would want to advise that new counsel to get a hold of Ms. Rusin.
Okay.
Okay?
So this is going to be a final order.
Is there, I'm trying, this is something that may, I'm trying to translate the sense of normalcy of the city of Pittsburgh, to the normalcy of Pleasants County. That there's a very different, I guess, mindset involved in it. Part of this 2-year process has been my learning how to communicate effectively in this situation. So I may have been awkward at times, and that's,
Well, Mr. Pruitt, I mean, I think it's universal that children have to have a stable roof over their head.
Absolutely.
Electricity, running water, heat, cleanliness, and stability, and food to eat, means to support yourself. Things that's universal, not only between Pittsburgh and this area, but the United States and the world in general, as far as that goes.
absolutely.
Those are the kind of things you have to be able to demonstrate that you can provide, for your child. That, and the child has to be safe and safe from any kind of abuse or neglect.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to demonstrate those things. And when you can demonstrate those, we can schedule a court hearing and let you do that. Okay? I've got to go on to my other cases now, Mr. Pruitt. Thank you for attending, and Ms. Reason, I'll be sending you a copy of the order.
If I get an address.
Mr. Pruitt, you're still going to have to provide a written address to Ms. Reason and to the court. Okay?
Okay.
Otherwise, you're not going to know you're not going to have a copy of this order. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Okay.